Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on Maverick Chess, and today we are talking about GothamChess's favorite opening, the Vienna game, and we will be covering the Vienna Gambit. As a reminder, all the moves will be in the description down below, but I have nothing else to say. We're going to be looking at the alternative to 2 Knight F3, and that is number 2 Knight C3. Why is this played? It's offbeat. That really is it, because how many times do you know of a game that goes knight to f3 and black can prepare anything? They can play knight to c3 and then you're forced into an Italian or into a Spanish, maybe into a Scotch, into a 4 knights. You may not even get knight to c3, you might get a Petrov, in which case you're looking at some very boring stuff. Knight to c3 is just different, and that's why it gets played. And white looks to play a different setup where they make use of this f-pawn very quickly, which you can't do if you play knight to f3. And they play it in kind of a king's gambit style, and it's very nice and very attacking. The most common move here is still knight to f6, which does allow f4, the Vienna Gambit. Now, if you've watched the Gotham Chess video before, maybe you haven't, and you don't know who that is, and you're here today to learn about the Vienna opening because it's this month's opening roulette on chess.com. Welcome all the same. You will know that the only move to play here is d5 for black. Everything else is bad. At which point, white plays f takes e5, and then we get knight takes e5. And then we continue to develop with knight f3, so that, various queen stuff is disallowed. And then from here, probably the best approach is bishop to e7. And this is what the game gets played, and you can see it's slightly in black's favor. And this is the main line. But why this is also played is because people don't know this, and they might take this pawn, which is bad, because now you're just in a king's gambit that's actually good. Now, the most important move here you need to know is e5. That forces the knight to retreat to g8. You might say, why does it have to retreat? Where's it going to go? It dies there, it dies there, it dies there, it dies there. There's nowhere for it to go. It's taken all its squares very nicely away. Knight to g8, and then now you get knight to f3, preventing once again queen to h4. Whenever you push this f-pawn forward, and you'll learn this in various king's gambits, this diagonal here to the king becomes very weak. It's the same why black doesn't really use their f-pawn, because the light squares around the black king get weak. And then here, probably the best move according to the database is the move d5 or d6. So we'll look at d5 first, and then white plays d4, and you can see they've got a lovely little center. This knight struggles to develop, and the pawn is going to be claimed back very quickly. Here in the database, g5 is the move that gets played, but the best move according to the engine that I've got running is the move bishop to b4. What? Bishop b4. Hang on. Sorry, I've gone blind. Yes, bishop to b4. Just pinning this knight. And developing pieces, because now you can get this knight out and castles. Here, you could just play bishop takes f4. And this is where the chess develops. And you can see white has got a decent advantage, because you can't take the gambit. It's called a gambit, but these are the ones you can't accept. Okay. So we looked at that. What if people try to decline the gambit with something like this? Well, that's not good either. You can see white's still got an advantage, and you play knight to f3. And taking, we still know, is can't bad, but you might say, well, what about now taking? Because now this doesn't exist. You see it's minus 1.7. Now this doesn't exist. Yeah, but remember, what's the point? We get 2 pawns in the center. That is the whole reason you play your king's gambits and your queen's gambits with the c-pawn and with the f-pawn. So you get these lovely 2 center pawns. You might try to play this in king's gambit style, but the knight's already out, so g4s don't really hold on to the pawn. In the traditional king's gambit, going all the way back, and I know I'm talking a lot about the king's gambit, but it is because you get this position with these pawns. You might say, but in the king's gambit, can't you play like this? Yes, you can. But there's no knight here, so the queen protects that. Anyway. So that doesn't work. We play d4. And this is what you look at. Your pieces are going to come out very quickly, and all will be good. And this is the Vienna game in a gambit. The Vienna game in a few minutes. Might say, but what if Black doesn't play like this? Okay, what if Black doesn't play like this? Okay, a common idea might be then to play Knight to C6, just mirroring you. Well, now you can do similar stuff. You can play Bishop to C4. So let's go do that. Bishop to C4. Now Knight to F6. Now Vienna Gambit doesn't really work. It's not the same thing. But we play D3, and then we play like the deferred, where you get the bishop out to support it. And what's going to be nice is you're going to castle, your rook's going to have an open file, your pieces will be developed, and you're following all the basic rules of chess. Black here goes after your light squared bishop, because it could be really useful in the future, so they go for it. We just play knight Ge2, allow them to take back with the pawn. You might say, but hey, we've given up a center pawn now, it's kind of split. Yeah, but this pawn is still strong, and these two still control d5. It can be reinforced, and you can get your bishop out on the dark squares, and you'll be fine. Bishop to c5, and short castles. And this position is dead level for both sides. It's completely level. You've gotten into a unique position. You can, play king here, defend the center, jump your knight forward, and it really offers a lot of flexibility. That's why it can be and should be very popular amongst all levels. It's just something different. You might catch someone who's ill-prepared. There is, I believe, one other trick. Knight to c3. Here, and if they continue with this, you've got this move, queen g5. This is just an important move you need to remember. If you go here, not queen g5, queen g4. Because they've copycatted you, they've done exactly what you did. But by moving this bishop out, you get the queen here. It doesn't work the same way with the queen coming out. You might say, can't Black do that? Can't, Black go here? Instead of bringing their bishop out, can't Black just do it now? Taking advantage of the fact that the bishop goes here. Not really. Knight to f3. And you can't take this. Rook g1. And the queen's virtually trapped. The engine gives you a take and give it up like this. You might say, but yeah, the queen's not trapped. Over here. Bishop takes f7. And you might say, I see this. I see what you're after. King d8. d4. Like, you're getting butchered, and I'm going to win this queen. This queen is offside. This queen is Timo Werner, Alvaro Morata when he played for Chelsea. Offside. Incredible. Darwin Núñez, this queen is offside. It doesn't belong there. Your king's now in d8. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. So you've got to avoid that trap. You might think as Black, I can do it. The bishop came out. It doesn't work. It works with White when they play queen g4. Because the same trap doesn't exist. You can't now play here because now I can take on g7. You might say, but here, yeah, but now I just mate you. Remember, my bishop is already out. I've got that extra bit of development. Because you jumped the gun with Black, this bishop never got out. Okay, that's a side tangent, but remember, all the moves are in the description down below for you to paste into an engine. But yeah, the Vienna game. These simple 3 moves, and they can really bamboozle opponents. It's really nice. And if you survive the opening, you've got a lot more freedom than playing something really staunch like the Roy Lopez of the Italian. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Comment on how I can improve. And but you know YouTube. You know the rest. I hope you have had a wonderful day. Comment section is down there for you. For your enjoyment, for your amusement, for your suggestions. I'll see you next time.